Hey guys, Adam Fenig here with Fenig Equipment. You're tuned into the Talking Shed. Hey, behind me we've got another applicator in the shop here getting it ready for spring. But we have a couple solutions, a couple different changes we're making for this year, especially in these tire track rows. Has anyone had any issues getting those tire track Coulters to go in the ground as deep as all the other Coulters? Or are they just skimming on top of the ground? Maybe putting fertilizer on top. That ground's not only more compacted, but it's depressed as well from the tires. We've got a solution, so let's dive in and talk about it. All right, guys. So what we have found is that the Coulters that run behind the tractor tire tracks on your side dress applicator, those Coulters, they have to run down in that valley, that channel created by the tires. So they are not going in the soil nearly as deep as all of the other Coulters. What happens is the tire makes a depression and the Coulter has to go through that. Not only is that depression lower, but that ground right there is a little bit harder. So that Coulter has got a tougher job than all of the other rows, and what happens is that fertilizer ends up not going in the ground nearly as deep on those tire track rows as all the other rows on the applicator. How can we fix that? So a solution that J&M has came up with that we found for these applicators is this drop down shaft. The idea here is that this shaft has got multiple holes bored into it. It's a little bit longer than the factory shaft, and what it will do is it will drop this Coulter unit down. So we will install this in place of the factory shaft on this weldment. It will drop this Coulter down. And now when we're side dressing, the tire track Coulters are technically running lower than all the other Coulters, and it's going to keep that Coulter and knife in the ground. Because where the tire tracks run, that ground is lower to begin with. So we need those Coulters to be set lower from the start anyways. So we see it a lot of times. Guys will be out there side dressing and those tire track Coulters are just riding above the ground, maybe putting that fertilizer on top, which is fine if it's at the root zone. But when we are in the middle of that, in between those two corn stalks at the furthest point away, we don't really want our fertilizer right on top of the ground. That's where we need to get it in the ground. So these drop down shafts will really help that. If you own a J&M applicator today and would like to get some drop down shafts for your applicator, give us a call and we can get that taken care of. But it's a great way to help get those tire track rows back in place. Another solution that we have found is I have a lot of guys running our triple threat fertilizer system, at least on the tire track rows. Why do they do this? Well, they do it for the same reason of the drop down. They feel like their nutrient placement in those tire track rows is not ideal. Not only is that ground harder, but it's deeper. We're not getting that fertilizer where we want it. So we're going to divide it up and we're going to put some out at the root zone. We're going to put a little bit in the center. But that ground's going to be a lot more compacted right there. Those roots are not going to want to really fight into that center where our Coulter is running. So that's a great place to put our triple threat system. So if you are running an applicator of any sort today, it's a great idea to get the triple threat system at least on those tire tracks, because like I said, in that compacted zone, not only is your tractor tires running through there, but then the applicator tires followed up behind. Not an ideal place for roots to work themselves into the middle. It's a perfect spot for the triple threat system. So that's what we're doing today, talking about tire track solutions for nutrient applicators. Thanks for tuning in.